persons and also the honorable members of the host team. That's so significant because of we know very well that this is the time for ICT tools that we are using in our day-to-day life, but we don't know so many rules and regulations how to use our intellectual properties as well as also how we have to use our different technical, I mean to say that ICT tools like mobile or within various types of social medias. So that is why we have selected all these topics for our learners, and we hope that this program will be beneficial for all of us. So uh, again and again, thanks to all of you and welcome to all of you for our organizing team. And now I request Mr. Jayanta Kolita to start our program with national anthem.
Thank you, Mr. Mintu Pathak, convener of this program, and welcome you all to this virtual platform. This is Jayanta Kolita, SOD Department of Education, Masbat College. On behalf of the organizing committee, I welcome you all to this program, and without further delay, I request you all to mute your video and audio so that we can start with our national anthem. Please, once again, I request you to mute your video and audio. We are going to start with our national anthem. Please mute for a moment. Thank you for your nice cooperation, and now I request Mr. Mintu Pathak to carry forward the next part of the agenda. Please, over to you.
Thank you, Jayanta Kolita. Now we are going to invite Dr. Gitali Sharma, Coordinator IQSC Tongla College, to offer welcome address for our national webinar of today. Ma'am, please come and offer your welcome address. Dr. Gitali Sharma, ma'am, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mintu Pathak. Good afternoon, everyone. Respected Chairperson IQSC, respected participants, and honorable resource persons. Today, we are going to start one-day national webinar on global significance of intellectual property right and cybercrime. Intellectual property right is the right given to persons for their creations of their mind. There are different types of intellectual property. Most common of them are copyright, patent, trademark, and trade secrets. Nowadays, all the creations and innovations are available in the internet. Therefore, it becomes easy to copy other creations. We have seen this type of copies even in the intellectual field, especially in the research work, as it is illegal. Therefore, we should know the legal aspects of intellectual property right to guide our students. We have invited the resource person, Dr. Ramesh Chandra Borpatra Gohain, Advocate General, Government of Assam, who will share his views in the different legal aspects of intellectual property right. We have thought he is the right person who will share his views in this topic. Welcome, Dr. Borpatra Gohai sir, to the national webinar. Another topic is the cybercrime. Cybercrime, it is the criminal activity done with the help of computer network, or we may say it is the computer oriented crime. In recent times, many people have to be the victims of cyber crimes, especially in the financial sector. Our new generations, most of their time, they spend in the virtual world. Therefore, knowingly or unknowingly, or sometimes only for fun, they are involved in cybercrime. And some people who collect easy money are also involved in cybercrime. So, as the people have to become the victims of cybercrime, so we have to know how to protect ourselves from cybercrime. We have invited Dr. Nilutpal Deka, Advocate Guwahati High Court, and also the specialist of cybercrime, who will discuss on the topic of cybercrime. I welcome you, sir, to the national webinar. I welcome Dr. Prosen Doimari, Principal, cum Chairman IQAC Tongla College, who will inaugurate the program. I also welcome all the participants, including faculty members from different higher educational institutions, research scholars, and our dear students. I welcome the coordinators, Professor Mintu Pathak, coordinator of Guwahati University, IDOL, and Jayanta Kolita from Masbat College. I welcome also the principal, Dr. Pradeep Kumar Sharma, Masbat College. I welcome the technical expert, Mr. Anubhav Shetia from Dibrugarh University. I hope this webinar will be successful and all the participants will be benefited from this webinar. Thank you and good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Gitali Sharma, Madam, for your nice deliberation and welcome speech. You have, in a short time, you have explained the objectives of the webinar, as well as you have covered the maximum points of what we'll be going to discuss today in this national webinar. So thank you once again, Madam, for your nice words and welcome address. Thank you. Now I again request Mr. Mintu Pathak sir to welcome Dr. Prosen Doimari sir, Principal Tongla College, for his inaugural speech. Over to you, Mintu Pathak, please.
Thank you, Jayanta Kolita, and thank you, Gitali ma'am, for your great welcome address. Now I request our principal, come chairman of IQAC Tongla College Tongla, Dr. Prosen Doimari sir, to introduce or to inaugurate our national webinar especially on intellectual property rights and cyber crime today. Please, sir.
Thank you, Professor Mintu Pathak. Respected coordinator of this national webinar on intellectual property rights and cybercrime, Mr. Mintu Pathak, Associate Professor of Political Science, Tongla College, and also the coordinator, Tongla College Study Center of Guwahati University, IDOL, and also respected Joint Coordinator, Mr. Jayanto Kolita, Head of the Department of Education, Masbat College. Honorable official persons of this national webinar, Dr. Ramesh Chandra Barpatra Gohain, Advocate General, Guwahati Government of Assam, Dr. Nilotpal Deka, Advocate, Guwahati High Court, respected coordinator of IQAC Tangla College, Dr. Gitali Sharma, Associate Professor of Economics, Tangla College, and also the who has given us the welcome speech just a minute before. Honorable Principal of Masbat College, Dr. Sharma, Mr. Arnab Setia, Dibrugarh University, technical expert of this national webinar, and respected participants of this national webinar. I feel very proud to inaugurate this national webinar on intellectual property rights and cyber crimes, organized by Tangla College IQAC and Tangla College Study Center of Guwahati University, IDOL, in collaboration with the Department of Education, Masbat College, Masbat. Intellectual property rights, as we all know, are the legal rights that cover the privileges given to individuals who are the owners and inventors of a work and have created something with their intellectual creativity. Individuals related to areas such as literature, music, invention, etc. can be granted such rights, which can then be used in the business practices by them. The World Intellectual Property Organization has laid down the following list of activities which are covered by the intellectual property rights: industrial designs, specific discoveries, protection against unfair competition, literary, artistic, and scientific works, inventions in all fields of human endeavor, performances of performing artists, photographs, phonograms, and broadcast, trademarks, service marks, commercial names, and designations, all other rights resulting from intellectual activities in the industrial, scientific, and literary artistic fields. Intellectual property rights can be further classified into following categories: copyright, patent, trade secret, etc. The creator or inventor gets exclusive rights against any misuse or use of work without his or her prior information. However, the rights are granted for a limited period of time to maintain equilibrium. Now, with the growth in the use of internet these days, the cyber crimes are also growing. Cyber theft of intellectual properties by stealing of copyrights, trade secrets, patents, etc. using internet and computers is one of them. One of the major cyber threats of intellectual property faced by India is piracy. These days, one can easily get pirated version of movies, software, etc. The piracy results in a huge loss of revenue to the copyright holder. It is difficult to find the cyber thieves and punish them because everything they do is over internet. So they erase the data immediately and disappear within fraction of a second. The country has started taking strict measures to curb these offenses. I hope today's national webinar will bring out the ways how to achieve intellectual property rights for different activities, be protected, and to stop or minimize the cyber crimes on intellectual property rights of an individual. With these few words, I conclude my inaugural speech and declare this national webinar on intellectual property rights and cyber crimes open. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Prasen Doimari, sir, Principal, come Chairman, IQAC Tongla College Tongla, and we are very thankful to you that with such a beautiful speech and informative speech that you have given to inaugurate our session, and we are very, very thankful to you from our organizing team. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank you.
we are going to start our first session, and as per our agenda, the first session will be there. There is that we have invited one guest or resource person, and first of all, I request Dr. Nilitpal Dekasar to come with us. And before that, we are going to introduce Dr. Nilitpal Dekasar about him. So the first session that has been coined as cybercrime, laws and precautions. Dr. Nilipur Decker was born and brought up in Guwahati and educated in Guwahati, New Delhi, England, France and Geneva. The novelist belongs to a family with a legal heritage. After he graduated from the prestigious Cotton College, he holds 5 master degrees, LLM in cyber law and intellectual property law with research method training, supported by an access to learning fund from the Norwich Law School from United Kingdom. Master of Business Law, National Law School, Bangalore. Master in Social Works, MA in English Literature, and Master of Communication and Journalism from Guwahati University. The University of Guwahati has confirmed him Doctor of Philosophy for his research work on legal and constitutional protection of traditional knowledge of indigenous peoples of Northeast India. Dr. Nilutpal Dekasar did postgraduate diplomas in human rights, refugee law, and international humanitarian law, environmental law, international law and cyber law from Indian Law Institute and from the Indian Academy of International Law. He also received a full scholarship from the International Institute of Human Rights, Strasbourg, France, to pursue a specialized course on international as well as comparative law of human rights. He completed general course on intellectual property rights law from World Intellectual Property Organization, Geneva. He represented the Norwich Law School, United Kingdom, in the prestigious Oxford Intellectual Property International Moot Court competition in 2006. During his studentship in the Indian Law Institute, he co-authored the chapter on cyber privacy in a comprehensive book on cyber laws, legal dimensions of cyberspace in 2004. He entitled the volume on cybercrime, Roadmap Towards the Cybercrime Deterrent Mechanism in 2008. He is also the author of Human Rights Perspective and Challenges, ABD in 2008. His scholarly articles on legal perspectives on the question of Assam's sovereignty have widely been appreciated. He is an editor of Sabdo.net. World is the first online English Assamese dictionary launched in 2006. He has been a casual journalist in different regional as well as national newspapers for about 31 years. And so far, more than 200 articles are to his credit, which includes some journal articles also. Till now, 10 of his articles are documented in the Parliamentary Library of India, and the issues contained in the articles were taken for discussions. He worked with the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, New Delhi, Legal and Protection Unit, and International Committee of Red Cross, South Asian Delegation, International Humanitarian Law Department during the early part of his professional career. Presently, Dr. Nilutpal Dekasar is an advocate of Honorable Guwahati High Court and also cyber crime specialist. He has been a visiting faculty in the Indian Law Institute, New Delhi, Indian Academy of International Law, New Delhi, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Cotton University, Guwahati University, Assam University, Asian Institute of Management and Technology, and Assam Institute of Management, and many more. So it is very much difficult to conclude within a few words about the academic particulars of Dr. Nilotpal Deka. So it is a very brief testimony about Dr. Nilotpal Deka, which cannot be completed in a short period of time. Anyway, it is the time to hand over the platform to Dr. Nilotpal Deka for his valuable presentation on the topic of cybercrime, laws and precautions, which is incredibly significant for the current period for all of us. Now, I would like to request Dr. Nilotpal Deka sir, Advocate Honorable Guwahati High Court, to take his time and share a valuable presentation. Please, sir. Dr. Nilotpal Deka sir, please come and offer or share your views on your topic. Thank you very much to all. Hello? Dr. Nilotpal Deka sir, please.
Sir, please unmute yourself. Sir, please unmute yourself.
Dr. Nilotpal Deka sir, unmute your. Unmute.
Yes, I have done that. I have done that. Yes.
Okay, sir. Yes. Now you are audible and visible, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir. And we have hand over the session for you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Mintu Pathak, Principal Doimari, sir, and all the dignitaries today. I'm really, I really feel privileged and honored to be part of this national webinar. I always wanted to come to this part of the Assam in Sonitpur district, Dorong district, that area. I have not traveled to for any kind of cyber dissemination program. Before I start, I'd like to tell you that people sometimes would like to know that how the phenomenon called cybercrime and cyber law, how it developed throughout maybe for half the century. I will not be dealing much with the history of cybercrime, and I'll be dealing from the late. I'll be dealing from the late 1990s, starting from the early 1990s. There was a movement for the establishment of the World Trade Organization, and thereafter there is a TRIPS agreement, trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights. Now, with the coming of the TRIPS, the world revolutionized like anything regarding the intellectual property. And when we are in the new age media, when we are in the when there is a IT revolution across the globe, there are websites, there are portals that are coming up, and the cybercrime started pouring in. But most of the cybercrime in India, people perhaps never knew that it will be so serious in this largest democracy in the world. It was in the year 2000. It was realized that India really needs protection from the cyber criminals. If not the cyber criminals in India, at least at that moment from the outside, who could intrude into the Indian portals, Indian government websites, and destroy and steal the informations, the sensitive informations from the country. So it was in the year 2000, we have the cyber law in the manner that it was called that Information Technology Act 2000. And later on, it was amended many times, and the last being amended in the year 2009, and that came into effect in the year 2015. Now, let me see the plan of presentation. Today. Here, firstly I'll be dealing with uh, before we know about the cyber law, before we know about the cyber crime, we should know what exactly is the cyberspace. I'd have been very happy in a physical meeting, physical conference like this, when I happen to meet the participants, audience, where there could have been more interactions. But we have to succumb to the COVID happenings across the globe, across the country, across the state. So let me tell you, like, what is cyberspace? Cyberspace is something that is managed by ICANN. There is an organization called ICANN, ICCAN, ICANN, which provides the space actually. And now that is all regards to internet, when the internet is concerned. Now, what exactly is cyberspace? If we talk about the mobile phone, the memory card it has got, that is a cyberspace. Then with the pen drive we use, that is a cyberspace. Thus, compact disc, the CD that we use, that is a cyberspace. Now, cybercrime can happen as per the Information Technology Act 2000. The cybercrime, what the least thing that can be termed as a cybercrime, the Information Technology talks about that. If I happen to steal, if I happen to copy with my pen drive a pen drive with my pen drive from someone else's computer, and that I use for my benefits, that can be termed as a cybercrime. This is the least smallest thing which we can term as a cybercrime. Now, what are the cybercrime? I'd like to see this webinar as more participatory way, more interactive. So I speak, because after me, Advocate General of Assam, Professor Dr. Ramesh Chandra Borpatra Guhai, who also happens to be my PhD guide in the Guwahati University. There he is coming. So I'd like to be very brief, because all may be waiting. Most of you may be waiting for his for his speech as well, where we can get when we can be more enlightened. Now, when we talk about cybercrime, as I had said, when I steal something, when I copy something from someone else's computer, that can be called a cybercrime. Now, if we come to what is cybercrime, then I can say virus attacks. Viruses are nothing but these are the softwares that harms our computer. Now, how this virus attacks? There is I'll tell you the dangerous virus attack, that is something called Trojan horse. Trojan horse is such a virus. It can understand every keystroke that you type, even without placing itself in your hard disk. It can understand every keystroke you are typing on your computer. So when the Trojan horse enters your computer, if you type your PIN code, your debit card number, the security code behind the debit card number, ATM card, behind the debit card, ATM card, or the credit card, that the security code behind the 3-digit security code. Anything you type on your computer, the Trojan horse can understand it. That is the seriousness of cybercrime. Now, that is being one. Now, financial fraud and financial problems in the cyberspace. I'll tell you, rather than be more theoretical, uh, let me explain some things, certain things where you can yourself get some practical experience from me. Now, financial fraud. When I'm talking, I'll start with one example. I cannot tell you the bank name of the bank. I cannot tell you the case number because the case is still going on. This case, what actually has happened, one fine morning, a person comes to this particular bank to update his passbook. The passbook has become, but when updating the passbook, it has become a never ending thing because some money is being updated. When the 100 copies are being updated and still it is never ending, the bank authorities thought there is something missing. Now, what is being updated in the passbook was 5 paisa, 5 paisa, 5 paisa, 5 paisa. And I, being in the panel of that bank as a cyber law expert, I was called in and I said that immediately the FIR should be lost. The FIR was lost. Police came in. The person was who came to update that. After grilling him for a long time, he said that he admitted that he was deputed by a company in New Delhi, and then he what he did actually we did that he opened an account, and for every transaction that is being made in that particular bank, 5 paisa will be credited to his account. That is what he has done. He has admitted. Then we came to know that during when the software was developed, he was working with the software and he connected every transaction to his account. What could have been more dangerous, what could have been done in a more proper way by a software computer is that the additions and the sums of those, if he did not have made it every transaction being updated, he could have made a sum in 2-3 months and the money come in a combined manner, and nobody could have understood what actually has happened. So that would have been more dangerous for us. Now, some other let me come to apart from this financial fraud, let me come to the cyber pornography. The most dangerous being in the pornography itself is the pedophile people who have been working and who have been working or who have been traveling as a tourist in various countries. They are they take the videos, they compose those videos and upload those in the pornographic websites. And let me tell you, as the internet in the new age, in the new media does not, there is no one can stop it. There is lots of jurisdictional problems across the world now, jurisdictional problems in the sense, as there is no boundaries. The websites, that is one website that can be uh, hosted in a country, that can be uploaded in a different country. The server can be in a different country, and I can access um, those videos, songs, any text being uploaded there from anywhere in this world. There is one famous case, France Yahoo case. We talk about it. It's a France Yahoo case where the one American court, the France court, has held that if an American website that can be accessible in the country of France, and for any litigations, the jurisdiction can be within the territory of France, or it can be, for that matter, in any country, uh, because internet has no boundary, and in that case, this is one country. Internet is one country unofficially. So that is what we have to accept. Then in the computer crimes, we can talk about. I am trying to simplify the things. We can steal something, we can modify something, we can exchange data without knowing other person's knowledge. That is being one of the internet crimes. Now we can also we can also see that the hacking being one of the crimes, and these crimes for hacking, these cyber criminals needs the very technical brain for the crack those source code and then hack those. So this is not our not our intelligence that we can do such things. Only the cyber criminals with lots of technological knowledge can do it. Now there is some common there are some common crimes that is being taking place. There are spam attacks. How these spam attacks in your emails can take place? If anyone is I hope all the participants here are using one of the at least one email that they are possessing, and in those emails, the spam attacks can be some unsolicited emails that can enter that can be sent to your inbox, and your and with those spans, your emails can be your email inbox can be unworkable. It may not be able to send, and through those if when there is a spam attack, and through those emails viruses can be sent. And let me tell you, there is something called virus, and there is something called cookie. Virus and cookie, it can do almost a similar thing, but viruses are harmful and cookies are not harmful. Cookies, most of the websites, if you see, they declare themselves that they have they use cookies, and in that case, when the cookies are used, they do not harm your computer, but it can take out various informations. It can take out various informations from your computer without harming your computer. Let me see. There are some hands raised. I'm really sorry for that. Can I see? Yes, I can see Dr. Uh, Dr. Mintu Pathak. Should I?
Yes, sir.
Should I reply the questions raised now or at the end of my presentation?
End of, sir.
No, sir.
At the end of your
presentation, it will be allowed to address.
Allowed for the participants.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Then I'll come up with that. Yeah. Now. Yeah. Then website defacement. Website defacement has been a very serious crime in our country and across the world. I'll give you some examples. Of where one example. Let me give at least one example of website defacement. The Bhabha Atomic Research Center, way back in the year 2002, the website had 800 users. That website was hacked, and how that website was defaced was that the cyber criminal, he has entered into the website, and what he has done, he has cracked the source code of the website, and then after hacking it, he has written, if India cannot if India cannot stop, if India cannot save the website of its can think of saving its own country. The the software engineers were into the investigation, police officers into the investigation, and those criminals were tracked in Pakistan and Australia. And now, since those are in different jurisdictions, these people are living in different jurisdictions, and since there is no extradition treaty, no international understanding for extradition of cyber criminals. We don't have an extradition treaty even now for the cyber criminals. That has been the problem, because most of the countries say they have questions to their sovereignty. They cannot place their citizens in problem when there can be when there can be extradition. It was traced to Pakistan and it was traced to Australia, but none of the cyber criminals who hacked the Bhabha Atomic Research Center could be bring back to India and tried in accordance with the Indian law. So this is being the problem. Now. Let me see some of the provisions where you can which is most relevant for your use in your day-to-day life. I'll tell you Section 43 of the Information Technology Act. One should mark Section 43 for any kind of damages made to a computer system, for any kind of damages made to a website, can be booked under the law, under the criminal law as well as under the civil laws. And earlier, before the amendment in 2009, earlier the maximum compensation was given up to 1 crore, but later on, the legislature could realize that the loss may be in thousands and billions and several crores. It's therefore it was amended, and it was left to the court to decide to what extent the compensation should be. Now, another relevant provision was till 3 years back. Relevant provision was that Section 66A, where someone could be punished for sending offensive messages through communication service. And communication service means it can be any ISPs, that is internet service providers, through which basically we get the mobile access, through which we use various websites in our computer and anywhere. So punishment for sending offenses through communication service. So that was there, but in the year 2015, that is about 5 years back, the Apex Court, the Supreme Court of India, held it as unconstitutional, as it will be in contravention with the Article 19(1)(a) of the Constitution of India, where it talks about freedom of speech and expression. Now, that is a section where most of the cases being filed, or affairs being lost in the various police stations, and as it is unconstitutional, most of the cases related to this kind of things, I think it comes under the section at this moment. It comes under section 499 or 500 of the 500 of the Indian Penal Code. Then there are various sections related to stolen computer resource, that is all under section 66. Then the identity theft, then cheating by personation, and violation of privacy. So these are the various sections, subsections under section 66. Then one very important section is section 67, where you can find punishment for publishing or transmitting obscene materials in electronic form, obscene materials and sexually explicit explicit materials, and that can also be comparable, or that can also be clubbed under section 292 to 93 of the Indian Penal Code, where wherein any writing or any photography which is sexually explicit should not be transmitted, should not be uttered by anyone, should not be written by anyone. Now, coming to all of us should now most of the things I'll be dealing with the precautionary part of it in the cyberspace. When you are using a mobile phone, when you are talking in a mobile phone, when you are when you are using a WhatsApp, when you are using your mobile with the computer, with the laptop, means you are dealing with the cyberspace, and you are vulnerable to cyber criminals. Now, first of all, as the precautionary part, I'd like to tell you that the section 78 of the Information Technology Act 2000, it deals with who has the power to investigate into a cybercrime. Happened after the enactment of the Information Technology Act in Mumbai. A constable who was taken to a crime scene, a cyber crime scene, and where the commissioner of police was also present. It was a case in Mumbai. The constable was told to seize the hard disk of the computers in that particular office in the crime scene, and that constable perhaps thought that he has done the best thing in his life by tying with a rope all the hard disks, making a hole in the every hard disk of those computers and laptops. And in the evening, it was placed in the desk of the commissioner of police. And by the time these hard disks were broken, and no data could be taken out of this hard disk. So that was because it was a problem with the investigation at the time. I suggested in various meetings that the police personnel, the software techies, the software engineers should be appointed as police personnel, so that in the crime investigation, in the cyber crime, crime, there is no excuse can be left out, and or everything is done properly while in this investigating crime. Earlier, thinking about that, the Information Technology Act first, when it came up in the year 2000, in the year 2000, investigation could have been done by a DSP. Then as there is a paucity of as there is a lack of manpower in the DSP rank, or the government procedures doesn't allow having DSPs, many DSPs in comparison to the cybercrime that is taking place. So in that case, the Information Technology Act was amended, and it says now the cyber investigation can be done by not less than the rank of an inspector. Now, I have told you the gravity of the crime, the gravity of going through a cyber investigation. I have given you the example of the Mumbai crime branch, about the constable and how the constable placed the commissioner that state in jeopardy regarding those cities, and nothing could be taken out of that those cities. So now it is the inspector. It is of the cybercrime can be dealt or investigated by not less than has to be done by the rank of an inspector only, even now. And what I have seen in my practical experience, that while dealing with or while cross-examining the police personnel in the various courts, I had seen that most of these police personnel who have investigated, who are of the rank of inspector, they are not educated or trained so much to investigate into cybercrime, into cybercrime. And that is why in most of the cases I could see myself that as a defense counsel, I could see myself winning cases for the accused persons. An accused person is scot free because of the faulty investigation procedure, maybe because of the lack of knowledge, maybe because of the lack of lack of training that the police department can impart. Now, let me tell you another a legal provision that that most of the cases when it is lost in the police station, and when it is lost in the police station, they are there is something called this is not there is something called bailable and non-bailable section. Now, when any crime punishable up to 2 years under the Indian Penal Code are bailable, and under the Information Technology Act, any crime committed and that is punishable up to 3 years are bailable. That has been the difference between the bailable as far as the Indian Penal Code is concerned, and the Information Technology Act. Now, let me tell you these are some of the important legal provisions that I wanted to share with you. Then let me go through some of the precautions that you need to take. Be it your laptop, be it your computer, and be it your mobile phone, whatever you're using, you should have one antivirus installed, and that should be registered, not the free version working in your laptop or the computer. It to save your computer from the cyber attacks. That is number one. Now, accessing any website, you will find in the bottom of the page the copyright policy, the user terms and conditions, the privacy policy, maybe in some websites the intellectual property policy. These policies you read carefully, because as I have already told you, once you are accessing the website, once you are registered into a website, you are bound to abide by the terms and conditions set forward. You need to see in those terms and conditions, if any legal problem happens, you need to see if you lose an FIR, if you need to lose a if you want to register a case, what will be the jurisdiction? The jurisdiction part is mentions, these websites mentions it very clearly, jurisdiction part. It will say the court in California, the court in New Jersey, the court in Paris, because the websites are being uploaded in those countries. So in case of any problem, you cannot lodge any complaint here in the country, but as I told you earlier, there is a case in the International Court of Justice that there is that the website where is accessible, that is being the jurisdiction, at least in case of commercial transactions. Now, I request all of you, as a precautionary part, I request all of you to read the user terms and policies, because there it is written. In most of the cases, I've explained you some time before that that most of these websites, the website will say that this website uses cookies, and I told you, cookies comes and sits in your computer. It doesn't harm your computer, but it can access some of your vital information like you are when you are browsing something. Suppose you are interested in the automobile company. Suppose you are interested in buying some clothes. You are accessing some websites. The cookies will collect those information. And what do you think? Those information. How do you get how those cookies retaliate with you? What the cookies does, it sits in your computer. What do you think about getting some unsolicited spam mails, and talking about the automobile company you served yesterday? You were surfing yesterday. The clothes company, Adidas, Reebok, Nike. You were surfing today in the morning, and even you get a mail, unsolicited mail, spam mail. So this is what the cookies does. So you need to think about that. Most of the companies in India, working from Northeast for that matter, if someone is accessing a website that is being hosted in a different state, the cause of action arrows in your state, but that there is a clause called arbitration. This arbitration clause matters a lot, because arbitration clause in any agreement when you are accessing a website, it talks about that both of you will not be going to a court of law. You'll be referring the dispute to an arbitrator, and that arbitrator, in most of the website you will see, will be chosen by the website itself. And when you are into it, so in case of dispute, you have to travel to the city, to the state from where the website is being hosted. So you need to be careful about that. Now, I'd like to see questions from you, as a precautionary measure. What kind of precautions precautions you can take in case of emergency, in case of any problem? If you have any problems regarding this, you can very well ask me. Dr. Pathak, I don't know, like it will be coming in the inbox, or there will be a video chatting.
Whatever you want, sir.
Anything. The video will be more appropriate for me.
Okay, okay, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, Janta.
Yes.
Please unmute our participants that they can ask question to our resource person, Dr. Nirkul Dekasar.
I request all the participants to raise your hand so that we can allow you to unmute yourselves to put your query, please.
Should I allow? Should we allow any
Yes,
questions
yes,
in
yes,
Assamese?
Kumar Soni. Yes, Kumar Soni. He raised his hand. Yes.
Hello.
Yes, Kumar Soni.
Hello.
Yes. Hello. You are audible. Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening to all of you, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sir, my question is very simple. I just want to ask, will cybercrime in the coming year affect hackers' attack aimed to technology device of the Internet of Things?
I did not get your question.
Okay, sir.
Can I repeat the question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Will cybercrime in the coming year affect hackers' attacks aimed to technology device of the Internet of Things? Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you. I can hear
Sir,
you, but
yeah,
but
yes,
but
sir.
can you type the question? Can you type the question? I can see the question.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
All the participants are also requested to put your query in the chat box so that we can collect it and carry and put forward to our resource person. Please, participants, you may put your query in, directly or in the chat box.
Yes, yes, yes. Can I see the see your question? Can you type the question, or if Mr. Dr. Pathak,
I'm
I did not get the
searching.
question.
Yes, sir, yes.
No, sir, he has not typed yet.
Okay.
1 minute, sir. I'm also trying to see whether there is question from YouTube also.
Okay. Yes, some Anthony has raised hand.
Yes, yes, Anthony.
Yep.
Yes, Anthony, sir. Anthony, you may put your question, please. Sir.
Yep.
Momita Mitra. Yes, Anthony. Yes, yes, you can carry on.
Sir, there's a question in the chat box. Maybe that person who already asked, he is Prasanto Gogoi. When we intend to use some downloaded apps, some of them seek permission to access phone calls, media files in our tools. Is it safe to allow them to access?
It is not at all safe. As I told you already, that our systems, be it the computer system or be it our mobile system, in both the cases we should have one antivirus, and your antivirus in most of the cases while downloading will raise an alarm that this is not from the secured site, so you should not download it. And if you yourself know that this is a secured site, irrespective of what is being raised by the internet security software, uh, then you can download it. Otherwise, you should not download anything from an unknown site which can harm your computer system.
Thank you, sir. There is another question from Momita Mitra.
Yes.
I'd like to put forward to you. Is there any database from where we can learn about the criminal cases related to intellectual property?
Criminal cases related to intellectual property, this question will require a very vast answer, because criminal cases related to intellectual property, probably Dr. Barbatra Guhai sir will come into it, and he will explain about it. But the criminal cases regarding intellectual property, we have various kind of intellectual properties like copyright, patents, trademarks, then geographical indications and whatnot. Dr. Barbatra sir will explain about it. Intellectual property are enormous, and that cannot be explained in a single meeting like this. If it is a specific this webinar is on a specific issue like intellectual property, like on a specific intellectual property, then this question can be answered. Otherwise, we have a lot many like for copyright, there is copyright violation cases. For intellectual property, intellectual right cases. Or if the participant wants to know where he or she can see it, there is first of all, we have the Google search engine, we have the Yahoo search engine, where copyright crime related cases can be typed, and then you will get some of the cases. But the more reliable case data finding website would be the indiakanun.com, where
One
you can
question from
find.
sir.
Yeah,
One question from Chatbox sir.
yeah,
Jagabandhu Kolita.
yeah.
He asks, what are the safety measures for online payment like Google Pay, internet banking, etc.? What are the safety measures for online payment like Google Pay, internet banking, etc.?
Yeah. The experience with Disney regarding in the practical experience, I'd like to tell you, um, you should not use Google Pay. You don't know where from this Google Pay is coming. You don't know whether a particular UPI is coming. You will say Amazon UPI. You will first find Google Pay UPI. You should not use it until or unless you know the source. That is my advice. Now I'll tell you. I should share you actually one of my case. So what I'm handling. How it is difficult. See, SBI Yono, there is a software, and you can download the software in your mobile. But if you don't know how to use the app, it can raise lots of problems for you. Like, you don't know there are some flat loans. Those flat loans, if you click on it without any documents, those loans are sanctioned without any documents, because by downloading it you have already given consent to the bank that your documents are already submitted, and the bank doesn't require any documents to sanction those loans. And if your phone can be taken by anyone else already, and a password, and anyone knows the password, or the pattern code, by anyone knows about that, and you have the SBI Yono, and that phone is connected to the bank network, anything can happen over the night. All money from your bank account can be stolen, because in that mobile you'll be having the SBI Yono. That mobile is connecting to the bank network. There can be flash loans which you can apply for, and within few minutes, who has stolen your mobile can take away all the money from your account, because anything can be transferred from the any amount of money can be transferred from the SBI Yono, from that app. So it is, so I advise you not to use Google Pay, any kind of UPI. The government will be against me for saying this, but in the digital India, I can guarantee at least 90% of the people are not digitally educated to use this kind of apps. First, I'd like to, through this webinar, I'd like to request the government of India or any state governments, first to educate these people, training sessions, only then. So I advise all of you, without learning anything, without knowing the source, never ever use this kind of apps. Thank you.
One more question from Nidupavan Dole in our chat box. He mentioned how we can lodge FIR against cybercrime. How we can
This
lodge
is yeah,
FIR
yes,
against
yes, yes.
cybercrime.
Cybercrime. Any crime that happens through your computer or anything, anything. Let us not classify any. I'm going to take it as a cybercrime. You go to the local police station, you lodge the FIR, and if the local police is unable to do anything regarding investigation, the local police has the direction to forward that case to the CID Assam Police. CID Assam Police will investigate about that. But in the local police station, my practical experience, I'd like to share about it with all due apologies and with all due respect to the policymakers in Assam or in India, that most of the police, they are not willing to take up cyber law cases these days. Let this webinar be a curtain raiser for the administration machineries as well. I hope I hope that the organizing the website organizing the webinar organizing committee will take this to YouTube or any other channels. I'd like to tell you that most of these police personals are not willing to take the cyber law cases because they are not tech savvy, or they do not know how to go about the investigation. And you will find those police officers, police person telling you, "A baddio ketu koribo nalage. Don't go for this. What you will get with this, forget about it." So that will be the immediate reaction. They will not investigate. And so there is when police do not investigate, I'd like to request to go to an advocate, file a petition before the police, that I had lost an FIR on so and so date. Police is not willing to take my case. Please direct them to investigate into the case. Now, if I become the advocate for the accused, if the police has not investigated it properly, it is the country of the accused, where they can move freely and live freely. So lots of things are yet to come up by the government the government of India, government of Assam, or all state government concerned regarding training of the police personnel still now. So in that case, when police is not willing, when these police personnel are not trained properly in the local police station to conduct investigation, I'd like to request all of you, be very careful before clicking any website, before clicking any buttons in any particular website. Be very careful about that.
Yes, Jayanta.
Thank you so much, sir. You have addressed many questions that asked by the participants. I have seen 2-3 more questions in the chat box, but we are sorry that due to time limitations, we cannot continue the interaction session more, because we have another resource person, Dr. R.C. Borpatto Gohai sir. He is waiting for us, and now I request Mr. Mintu Pathak sir to carry forward the next part of the agenda. Please, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Nilpal Deka sir. We are very much thankful to you, because that it's a very vital topic, present day situation, for all of us to know about what is cybercrime and how can we redress all of this. So I think our participants from different universities and also from different higher educational institutions like colleges, higher secondary, and also our research scholars as well as students, they will be benefited from your dignified lectures and speeches. Thank you very much again. And now I request Mr. Jayanta Kolija, Joint Coordinator, to invite our resource person, Dr. and Professor R.C. Borpatto Gohai sir. Please.
Thank you, Mintu Pathak sir, and also thank you, Deka sir, for your very informative deliberations. Already, Pathak sir has said that lots of we have benefited a lot from your deliberations. You have shared your experiences and compelling thoughts regarding this vital topic. So we all are enlightened with your deliberations. So thank you once again, and I also request you, Deka sir, to be with us till the end of the webinar. Thank you, sir. And now, as per agenda, it is time of the second session. So before inviting Dr. Ramesh Chandra Borpatra Guhai sir, I would like to introduce him before the participants. So it's a great honor to me to get the opportunity to introduce today's resource person, Dr. R.C. Borpatra Guhai, who is presently working as the Advocate General of GovTop Assam. Dr. R.C. Borpatra Guhai has a stupendous 36 years of teaching experience as faculty of Guwahati University, and he was the head and dean of the Department of Law of the same university. Sir has a long experience of teaching and in jurisprudence, human rights, constitutional laws, criminal laws group, and commercial law group. He has also the experience for more than 2 decades as a resource person in refresher courses, orientation courses, research methodology courses, and semester courses of PhD programs sponsored by SRDC. Guwahati University, ASC Khanapara, Kakahandik State Open University, Assam Forest College, Guwahati Idol GU, National Legal Service Authorities and Assam State Legal Service Authority, Manipur University, Nagaland University, Tezpur University, ICFAI University, Tripura, MGU Meghalaya, USTM Meghalaya, Dibrugarh University, Delhi University, Sambalpur University, Orissa University, and many more. Dr. Guhai has been invited in various seminars organized by National Human Rights Commission, State Human Rights Commission, Law Research Institute, Guwahati High Court, State Law Commission, Bar Council of Northeast India, etc. He has also guided and produced 21 research scholars in the field of law and allied subjects under Guwahati University, and performed as external PhD examiner or different other universities across India. Dr. Guhai has participated and organized several national and international seminars on human rights and humanitarian laws, worked as a member of course curriculum on feminist jurisprudence of NCW New Delhi, associated with UN Research Center, UNESCO, UNHCR, and ICRC, dealing with service law, criminal laws, human rights issues, environmental issues, etc. He has written and published many articles on the various important legal issues in different magazines, journals, and newspapers. Dr. Guhai shouldered the responsibility of drafting Assam Corporal Punishment Prohibition Bill 2010, prepared the Rule on Right to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009, drafted the Board of Secondary Education Assam Act 2017, Assam Higher Secondary Education Council Act 2018, and was the member of Indigenous People Land Rights Committee of Assam. So as a professor and advocate general of Assam, Dr. Guhai proved to be a very sincere and hardworking personality. So friends, we are very happy that Guhai sir has accepted our invitation and agreed to be present in us today as to deliver his speech on the global significance of intellectual property rights today as an academic analysis. So without further delay, I request Dr. Ramesh Chandra Borpatra Guhai sir to deliver his speech on the topic given to him. I welcome Dr. Ramesh Chandra Borpatra Guhai sir. I handed over the platform to you. Over to you, sir, please.
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Welcome, sir.
I'm audible, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Okay. Good. Very good evening to all the resource persons, professors, teachers, and participants of this webinar. It's a very significant event the Tongla College family has undertaken. Two of the important issues, one of my learned friend, Dr. Nilotpal Deka, has already explained about the cybercrime, its impact, and how to save us from the cybercrime in day-to-day life around the world. Now, second important issue is intellectual property right. Originally, there was no such concept that the intellectual property was a corporeal right and it should be confined to the creators. But gradually, in the flux of time, when it is seen that the competition of intellectuality that has grown to such a pass that the world community had to think about that there is a requirement of some control and restraint on the misuse of the intellectually created knowledge by a creator in different fields. To be precise, intellectual property right can be studied under two domains. One is the industrial rights. In the industrial rights, the patent, trademark, industrial design, geographical indication of source, and second is the copyright, which is more important to our academic life. That speaks for the protection of literary artistic works like novels, poems, plays, films, and the musical works. Now, in the entire globe, there are different types of debates, and a consensus has been arrived at the UN level that these intellectual property rights, the person who has created through his intelligence, intellect, is to be protected. The reason being that if it is protected, then the creator, innovator, will get an encouragement for doing much for the betterment of the society, and his personal interest will be protected. IPR in the world has targets for elevating poverty, helping to combat diseases, enhancing access to education, contributing to the sustainable development, protecting our cultural heritage, safeguarding the food security for the country, stimulate economic growth, stimulate invention and technology. IPR also help to increase agricultural or industrial production, promote domestic and foreign investments, facilitate technology transfer, and improve the ability of medicine necessary to combat the diseases. IPR will have to be studied on country base, IPR of developed countries, and IPRs in the developing countries. The developing countries went along the TRIPS agreement, trade-related intellectual property right agreement, for a variety of reasons, ranging from the hope of additional access to agriculture and apparel markets in rich nations, an expectation that a stronger IPR would encourage additional technology transfer and innovation. However, the promising long-term benefits are yet uncertain and costly to achieve in many nations, especially in the poorest countries. Globalization and its impact on IPR. The United Nations Commission on International Trade Law, by its General Assembly adopted in 1966, it tries to promote the progressive harmonization and unification of international trade laws. In the industrial sector, the industrial property, there was a Paris Convention in the year 1883, patent and trademarks and industrial designs were the three main properties that were granted protection in the convention. In 1998, India became a member of the Paris Convention. Second development was far ancient. In 1886, international copyright was passed, resulting the framing of Berne Convention for the protection of literary and artistic works. Second development, Paris Convention for the protection of industrial property. Berne Convention for literary artistic works of 1885. And Agreement on Trade-Related Intellectual Property Rights TRIPS Agreement of 1994. TRIPS Agreement, it covers many aspects. First is the copyright and related rights. Second is trademark, including service marks. Third is geographical indication. Fourth is industrial design. Fifth is patents. Sixth is layout design, topographies of integrated circuit. Next is trade secrets, IP protection for plant varieties and farmers' rights, and also for the protection of the biological diversity. In this context, without going further to this development, I personally feel that in India, whatever consciousness we should have, we are not so much conscious about these intellectual property rights. And that is why maybe through piracy or any other cyber method, our indigenous culture, heritage, fauna and floras available, especially in the Northeast, are at danger. Dr. Nilutpal Deka, he made an extensive travel to many corners of the Northeast and found that indigenous knowledge, which is a recognized intellectual property of the individuals belonging to that geographical location, there are different types of infringements even without the knowledge of the creators. That aspect is a very serious aspect. Now the main question is that in context to the international scenario, in India, we have enacted a number of laws. So to deal with the trademark, we have enacted the Trademark Act 1999. And we have enacted the Patent Act of 1970. We have made a Copyright Act of 1957. We have also made the Design Act of 2000. In India, the Geographical Indications of Goods Registration and Protection Act 1999 was also enacted by the Parliament. The Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Rights was enacted in 2001. The Semiconductor Integrated Circuits Layout Design Act was enacted in 2000. And the Biological Diversity Act of 2002 was also enacted by the Parliament of India after the Convention of Biodiversity of United Nations. Now, trademark. As we know, the trademark is a symbol, a letter, or a word that is designed and created by a company or by a person, and that is to be well protected. In most of the cases, there are different types of vexatious effort to violate the trademarks, which are earmarked and protected for the trademark creators. And that is why the Trademark Act, we must read thoroughly and understand its significance. Now, coming to the second statute, that is a Patent Act. Patent Act, we have derived the idea from Britain. The Queen Elizabeth was granting patent to certain creators, innovators of certain patented right of manufacture of articles, and that was protected for a specific period of time. And no person can dare to enter into that domain because the patenting authority has already conferred that right. Coming to India, our Patent Act that was enacted in the light of British law is also to that great extent is well protecting the interest of the patentees for the exclusive rights by himself or his agents or licensee. One very important aspect is that even whether we are talking about the Patent Act, Trademarks Act, if the creator intends to share or allows the other person, maybe with understanding that they can share it, then in that case, of course, not only the patentee, even the agent or licensee, they can exercise, still have exclusive right to prevent the third parties. It is negotiable, it is transferable, subject to, of course, the clear will and intention of the creator of the patent. Secondly, Copyright Act. Copyright Act was designed according to the British laws that was prevailing, and in India that was first enacted in 1914. But gradually, because of a flux of time and the global change, this act had to be modified, and ultimately the 1957 Act was enacted. That was also amended. Now the copyright, it relates to artistic, musical, other instrumental creations, and that is to be well protected under that domain. And now the copyright of a person who is the creator of that copyright, it continues during his lifetime. And the recent amendment has extended it even after the date of the person who has created this copyright to his successors or the trustees continuously for 60 years from the date of the person who has created it. We can mention about our proud of Assam, Dr. Bhupen Hazarika's, the creation, the lyrics he has created. It continued as a copyright for him. And after his date, that copyright is automatically bestowed upon the trustees who are looking after or the protection of interest of Dr. Bhupen Hazarika's tremendous contribution in the field of music. Secondly, if a person has written a book that is maybe a prose, a poetry, or some design, whatever it might be, it will be his personal intellectual property during his lifetime. And also we can mention about Kaviguru Rabindranath Tagore's contribution. And that is still continuing after his date for another 60 years. And after that 60 years from the date of Kaviguru Rabindranath Tagore and also Dr. Bhupen Hazarika, only after completion of 60 years, that right will be a public right, because there's a specific period which is meant for the protection of the creative interest of the creator. And after 60 years, as per law, it is said that it will not remain as a private intellectual property, it will become a public intellectual property. People can share it, people can develop many other aspects based on the research that is made on the contributions of those great personalities. A drawing, design, in any form, maybe a cartoon, that authority is bestowed upon, but then it has limited period after which it becomes a public property and anybody can have an access to. It is seen in the musical world, because of the piracy, which is also a cybercrime, as my friend Nilutpal already mentioned about. So there are so many attempts to infringe upon the intellectual property rights of creation of those musical composition, lyrics, and whatnot. But then that is not permissible. And whoever is doing, they are really doing wrong, contrary to law. And accordingly, depending on the nature and the quantum of damage that is done to that conferred intellectual property rights, automatically appropriate punishments. See, there are many aspects, of course, the time will not permit to look into all these aspects, but I'll just go on hinting. There may be civil, there may be criminal process for dealing with those matters. That depends on different types of situations and circumstances. But I'm just giving a hint of that. It may be a criminal offense, it may be a civil injury or civil wrong that will have to be appropriately dealt with. But then because of the constraint of time, I think we will not be in a position to discuss in details. Second important aspect is that in the global development, the general agreement on tariff and trade that continued up to 1995, and that has been replaced by WTO, World Trade Organization. And their intellectual properties are governed by different types of agreements. Say, for example, the TRIPS agreement I have already mentioned about, it looks into different dimensions of the intellectual property rights that are available to, and attempts of infringement and violations which are going on, and the process of trial and conviction is also gradually going on. Next to it is a design act. Design may be of different types. Supposing a tailor, he has designed a shirt with a specific idea, which is not common in other tailorings. Then he has that intellectual property right of design. Then, say for example, the carpenters, they are making furnaces with different designs. And whoever is creating that design and furniture, they have got the right, intellectual property right for their protection. Then electric appliances, then wallpapers, textile designs, to say a few. These are all protected by the Design Act. And there are certain important aspects to be looked into that they will have to look into: shape, configuration, pattern, ornament, composition of line and color. So in most of the cases, what we find that because whether it is a carpenter or a tailor or any other person, as I mentioned about, they are not at all aware of their rights. Sensitization program like this webinar is the need of the day, so that we can sensitize them that it is your creation, it is a design you have formulated, and you have got absolute intellectual property rights. Looking into. Then another important dimension that is on Geographical Indication of Goods Registration and Protection Act 1999. It is also important because of this geographical location. Some of the fauna and flora, according to TRIPS agreement or indigenous knowledge, are to be well protected. As we know that the Geographical Indication Act of 1999 is trying to protect the interest of those persons who are dedicating honestly in creating something, and that has a direct relation to geographical location they belong to. I'll mention, say for example, the Assam tea, the Darjeeling tea, and most of the fauna and flora of the Northeast, they belong to these bio hotspots. And people who are really dedicating for continuing it in perpetuation, they are not at all aware of. Say, for example, the muga or the silk industry in Assam. Very recently, of course, Swalkusi has got the GI tag, and the muga is also having that tag. And most of the fruits, different types of rice, especially the black rice, then ginger, then turmeric of the Northeast. Out of 237 of GI tag, 27 items of the Northeast have been given GI tag, geographical indication tag. From the GATT General Agreement on Trade and Tariff and Trade, and also the WTO's rule after 1995, and also the TRIPS agreement, we have to be very much serious about it. And I personally feel that it is a high time that there are many attempts of sabotaging our innocent creators who are continuing this traditional resources. But then that's because they are not at all aware of. I think in the school level, in the college level, in the university level, in the public level, we should go to the people and make aware of that these are our intellectual property rights recognized by the UN conventions. And that way, I think, once we are sensitizing all of us, we can have a well protection of. There are different varieties of orchids, more than 242 varieties of orchids, which are in the process of extinction in Northeast. Because of this sabotage that is done, as because we are also not so much conscious, and one day it may happen that may result in extinction. I'm mentioning only a few. And that is why through this webinar, it is my honest request to the academics that let us join hands, sensitize ourselves, going through the provisions of the Constitution as well as different types of legislation as I have been discussing, so that we can get a better result tomorrow. The entire world is a world of competition, and the competition is at intellectual level. Many people want to say there's a creation of mind. I slightly differ to that because it is said to be intellectual. We have senses, we have mind, and above that we have intelligence. Medically, I have also talked to a number of medical persons regarding the mental state of every human being. It's a beta stage when we normally interact, we are in beta stage. But when we are slightly delving into deep on a particular subject to understand the real significance with reference to global and international and regional perspective, then in that case, we go to alpha stage. And next to it is the most important stage, theta stage. Theta stage is the creation stage. And last one is delta stage, that is the healing and repairing of the body and mind. So I personally make an appeal to all of us that we should try to think in that way, that it is not the creation of mind, it is the creation of intellectual. That is why it is intellectual property. We should be very serious about it. And how to inculcate these things? There is a requirement of different types of course and curriculums, different types of seminars, symposiums, interactions, so that we can well protect our future, which is a danger. Next to it is Plant Varieties and Farmers' Rights Act 2001. In the Northeast, there are many plant varieties which are traditionally continued in practice by the farmers. And to give them protection, and also, if required, to allot them land and to give well protection in a scientific manner about the continuity of that plant varieties. We have got medicinal plants, we have got varieties of rice, we have many other plants which are really helpful for the survival of human being. But then I think unless we make a sensitization program about it and protect the plant varieties and protect the farmers who are really breeding and continuing this process, we will be ultimately facing different types of problems. And that is why, for this deliberation, it is my humble appeal to the academics with a request that they will pay due attention to these, and in the colleges, in the schools, in the societies, they will take a pivotal role in educating the people relating to the declared intellectual property rights, and that way we will be well protected. Then Semiconductors and Integrated Circuit Layout Act. There is also semiconductors intended to perform electronic, circulative function, and many other important functions. And they are also the creators. As per this act, their interest as an intellectual property right is well protected. But then, as because I feel that we are not probably taking that initiative in educating our people about their rights as well as their duties, and in protecting those semiconductors integrated circuit layout designs, the mischief will continue. In addition to that, after the Rio Earth Summit, there was a UN Convention on Biological Diversity, and the Parliament of India has enacted an act known as Biological Diversity Act 2002. So this biological diversity, as we know that in the entire world, there are as many as 21 or 22 bio-hotspots. Northeast is one of them. So in the act itself, it is provided that when any developmental work, construction work, or for that matter, any other ancillary works are to be undertaken in a particular biodiversity, the first obligation is that they will have to consult the indigenous people and take resort to indigenous people's knowledge on it Because traditionally for long generations and generations, they have been experiencing, they have been with the biological diversity. And if they are convinced, then other environmental impact assessment and other formalities that are to be made for the construction, developmental work, and other progressive works in that particular biodiversity. So here also we find that the act is primarily giving emphasis to conservation of biological diversity. That is what is the crisis in the world. Today we have been facing the dreaded coronavirus. It is, I personally feel, as a result of reckless effort in destroying the balance of ecosystem around the world, pollutions and other degrading situations are cropping up. And in the near future, if we are not restrained, then in that case, there may be an annihilation of the human civilization from Earth. And that is what is needed. Many efforts are made by the scholars, research scholars, and also people who are dedicating much for the protection of the environment and eco-balancing, sustainable use of components. But then there is more to work for that. In this context, I like to mention about Article 38 of the Constitution, which speaks about social justice. 39, it speaks about equal distribution of natural resources based on need, not on greed. Article 48A, it mandates the protection of the environment, biodiversity, and Article 51, capital A, clause G, it imposes a fundamental duty on every citizen, irrespective of his position in society, to be serious for the protection of the nature, lakes, water sources, so that the imbalance that we are creating, taking advantage of the science and technological advancement, it is to be stopped. And I personally feel the man and nature, the relationship is determined by the law of nature. And we being the creator of the nature, if we do not follow the law of nature, then I do not think the law of nature will spare us. And it is a disastrous warning. The natural law is giving to us, to human society, that be content with, don't proceed further for destruction. Be confined to your need. Do not try to go for fulfilling your greeds. That is the constitutional mandate. Another important point, which is there in the preamble of the Constitution, I like to draw your attention to. We have already committed that the concept of justice in social, economic, and political form will be available to every individual. Secondly, liberty of thought And that liberty of thought, we can infer to the intellectual property right. It is a creativity. Thought is a creativity. And through the thought, whenever some tangible objects, materials are created, then in that case, that is to be protected as an intellectual property rights. So if we go on discussing, it will never come to an end. But then with this humble endeavor, because of the paucity of time as well, and if opportunity comes in the near future, we will have detailed discussions on these issues. And it is my appeal to the college authority and the learned teachers, including the principal, who are dedicating much and inviting us to raise some issues. I think we'll be in a position to come to a better aspect. Now, in relation to copyright, I'd like to mention one thing. Section 52, it has been amended, and the latest amendment includes, say, for example, a research scholar or an academic. If he makes a research based on those ideas, but not for commercialization, then in that case it is permissible. Court proceedings of the legislature, if these are used for academic awareness and upliftment, these are permissible. I will appeal to all the learned participants, now teachers, to go through the Copyright Act, especially Section 52. It gives exhaustive details where copyright infringement is not there when the research scholars or the academics does research and tries to contribute something, but not for monetary gain. And that way, I think we should proceed on. And I feel I have done my job, and I'd like to conclude here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your vibrant lecture and also given a very intellectual, meaningful speech for our participant. And it's the time for interaction. We have some questions from our chat box also, and also from YouTube also. So I request Jayanta Kolita. Am I audible to Jayanta Kolita?
Yes, yes.
You please say YouTube first. One question has been raised by Dr. Dipen Nath, that is, sir, is there any designated agency to conserve the intellectual property rights of individuals or the groups, especially for them who are not even aware of this copyright or patent issues?
The two things are there. As I mentioned about, there are certain rights which are specifically for a person.
Policy 2020.
And there are certain intellectual property which are commonly available. Say, for example, the geographical indication, biological diversity, plant varieties. This cannot be confined to individual, but the persons who are really doing the continuation of the particular process. In their case, it will be a common intellectual property of those persons who are creating these things jointly, conjointly. And there are certain things, say for example, the copyright. Yes, we have copyright board, copyright authorities, and the registration of copyright is a must. And once we register that, as for example, this is individual, and as I mentioned about geographical indication tag, it cannot be individualized because many people are really involved in the process of procreation, process of reproduction, process of continuity. So these two aspects will have to be separately dealt with.
Thank you, sir. Another question from Kanai Paul. Is any act applicable for preservation of biodiversity in reality? Preservation of biodiversity in reality.
Yes, that act I have already mentioned about, the Biological Diversity Act 2002. It is after the Rio Earth Summit of 1992 and also the UN Convention on Biological Diversity in the in the domain of the TRIPS agreement and also the WTO agreement and other aspects I have already mentioned about. And I think this is a very foolproof legislation. And if it is properly implemented, I don't think that there is any requirement of making any specific law. It is very specific. I will make an appeal to all that at least that act may be looked into. And especially I'm referring to section 36, clause 4 of the act, in addition to many of the ideas that is provided in the provisions, including the objective of the act. I think if we are cultivating the idea, then I think we'll have a complacency that it is a very good law. There are certain situations where even the laws are good, but then implementation is not perfect. Implementing agencies are not responsibly doing their duty, and also people's participation in the particular process. There will have to be concerted effort from all, because it is an integrated effort through which we can achieve the goal.
Is there any query from your side, Jayanta?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Sir, there's a question from Alekha Gadhai in YouTube. In what way intellectual property rights is related to human rights? Is it universal?
Yes. Is Universal Declaration of Human Rights. If we go to Article 27 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, it speaks about the intellectual property right, as I have already mentioned about in the preamble, the liberty of thought. It will have to be improved. It will have to be improved, and there are some decisions of the Supreme Court. And if we just reconcile these ideas, Article 27 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 1948, and the preambular mandate of liberty of thought, and thought is creating a tangible object or material. And I think that way we can resolve issues.
Any more question from your side, Jayanta?
Yes, there is another question in the chat box in Zoom platform.
Yeah.
Is asked by Dr. Ram Murthy. Where should I have to apply for my book rights to reserve?
Pardon, right to?
Reserve.
The participants want to know if he or she wants to reserve his book rights, then where to apply it?
If he has written a book,
yes,
and definitely he will have to apply to the copyright authority. It is there, and as per the copyright law. And once he gets the copyright integrate, then his right will be protected.
Yes, thank you.
Copyright law is very clear about it.
Yes.
Sir, I'd like to add something, sir.
Yes, sir.
Apologies, sir. Dr. Borpatra.
Sir, please increase your volume, sir. Your laptop maybe. Please increase your volume.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I'd like to add something to it regarding the copyright. The registration can be done in the Patent, Trademark and Copyright Office. In Guwahati, we have it near the Digholi Pukhuri. I think why I have stated this, because I think the participants will be will be very happy with this, that we have an office in Guwahati as well. The patent, there is a process for registration for copyright, for a book, for the trademark, and for the patents as well. Thank you.
Another question from Utpala Burman. Whether Environment Impact Assessment Amendment 2020 can protect our ecological property rights. What is your opinion, sir? From Utpala Burman, research scholar. Why, sir?
Position in the Constitution as the issue is under debate, I restrain myself from giving any comment on that. I have already cited about the environmental impact assessment prior there too. Biological diversity, I have already mentioned about section 36(4). So please pardon me for this, as because I am holding a position in the government. So the process of debate is going on, and I do not like to go beyond that.
Yes, sir.
I've already hinted it.
One more question from Abdul Rafiq Chaudhary. Who owns the copyright of research papers or PhD thesis? Who owns the copyright of research papers or PhD thesis?
Copyright, as I have already mentioned about, copyright means a person who has created something, maybe an art, literature, whatever that might be, or including the research. Now the question comes in, especially on the research. We have already submitted our thesis to the concerned university, and even for publication, we'll have to obtain permission from the competent authority of the university to publish it. And regarding book, of course, we do not have to go for any permission from the university authority or any other authority, but we will have to register it with the copyright authorities that this is my creation and there is no resource. I have disacknowledged the creator, disacknowledged the sources. But then I will have to disclose the sources.
One more from Gitimoni Deka. How can I protect my e-writings under IPR, intellectual property rights? E-writings.
E-writings are very much common nowadays. And regarding that, there are many e-journals in the world. I have also contributed some of the articles on e-journals. And when we are contracting for publication of it, there must be some sort of understanding that the write-up is my personal creation, and at any cost, its interest is to be well protected so that this copyright cannot be violated by any person or authority.
Is there any question from Janta? Your side?
No, sir.
It's okay. Please proceed.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. You have already addressed many questions asked by the participants. I believe that all the participants have enlightened with your deliberations, and it was really delightful and enriching and thought-provoking also. Thank you once again that you accepted our invitation, and in spite of your busy schedule, you joined us today. And now I request Mintu Pathak sir to carry forward the next part of the agenda. Please, over to you.
Thank you, Professor Jayanta Kulita, and thank you very much our two honorable research person from Guwahati High Court and Advocate General Government of Assam. We are very much thankful to all of you because you have given a very nice and informative uh, presentation in front of our honorable participants from different universities, colleges, and etc. etc. Therefore, we also very much thankful to you from our organizations, our webinar team, because that you have accepted our invitation and join with us and make our this program as successful. So now I request our joint coordinator IQAC Tongla College, Mrs. Subra ma'am, Subra Ghosh ma'am, to carry forward the vote of thanks, to offer vote of thanks to all the honorable participant research persons and also the host, including the guests, those who are still with us. Yes, ma'am, you carry forward.
Thank you, Professor Mintu Pathak. It was really a very excellent and enriching session for us. And I'm really happy to be a part of the both thanking the participants as well as the resource person in this particular webinar. First of all, I take the opportunity to sincerely thank the principal of Tongla College and also the chief patron of this webinar, Dr. Proshen Doimari, for giving the consent to organize such a wonderful webinar. Thank you, sir, for giving a brief note on intellectual property rights in your inaugural speech. I also offer my thanks to the principal of Majbat College, Dr. Pradeep Kumar Sharma, for his support to collaborate with the Department of Education, Majbat College. On behalf of the organizing team, I extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Nilotpal Deka, Advocate General, Guwahati High Court, and Cyber Crime Specialist for enlightening us with such an informative lecture on cyber law, cyberspace, financial frauds, viruses, along with the various precautions. Thank you, sir. It was indeed a pleasure listening to you. Thank you so much for opening up new vistas in the field of cybercrime. I also offer my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Ramesh Chandra Borpatra Gohai, Advocate General, Government of Assam, for such an enriching deliberation on intellectual property rights, and along with it, we also how we have to be conscious about all our rights, including property rights, the trademarks, and how we can protect all those things. It was really a fruitful session, and I think all the participants have benefited from this particular webinar. I extend my heartfelt thanks to the coordinator of Tongla College, IQAC, Dr. Geetali Sharma, who is also the ex or former head of economics, Tongla College, and along with Professor Mintu Pathak, who is also the coordinator of IDOL and ex or former head of All Science, Tongla College, Tongla, for their active cooperation and support in order to arrange this or organize this particular webinar. I express my thanks to Professor Jayanta Kalita, Head of Education, Majbat College, for coordinating the webinar jointly. I extend my heartfelt thanks to Mr. Arunath Chetia, technical expert, Dibrugarh University, without whose cooperation and support, this webinar would not have been possible. I also extend my thanks to all the participants from various universities, colleges, research scholars, faculty members from other higher education or different higher institutions, as well as faculty members who have joined with us and made this particular webinar fruitful. We have seen in the chat box that participants have come from various parts of India, and we were really glad to find that participants from Nigeria and other states also have joined with us. A big thank you to all of you. I'm also thankful to all the students who have actively participated in this particular webinar. Thank you, both the resource persons, for your deliberation, which was really a very informative one. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your very nice vote of thanks to all of us, and we are very grateful to listen such type of vote of thanks. Very nice. Thank you, ma'am, again and again. You also. And thank you to both the honorable resource persons who have given mention about their speech about the risks and measures of net banking, use of social media apps, virus in internet, cases regarding cyber crimes, and also way to overcome all of these things. And also about mention about the indigenous property rights and cultures, trademarks, knowledges, etc. during the globalization as well as liberalization, even the privatization period presently, and also about individuals' talents are to be protected and how can it should be saved in our day-to-day life, because it's a way that our world that we know without having ICT, we cannot think anything at present because of the modern technological development. Even India is signing, we know very well, India is going to be a digital country of the world. In this sense, we can say that our today's both the topics that has been given by our honorable speech has been given by the honorable resource person. Thank you very much, and also thank you from both of us, from myself as well as from Jayanta Polita, to our principal, Dr. Pasendo Imari sir, chairman of IQAC Tongla College, Tongla, Dr. Pradeep Kumar Sharma, principal, Masbat College, Masbat, and also our IQAC chairperson, Dr. Gitali Sharma ma'am, and also our Ornav Setia, technical expert, and also the honorable Dr. Ghus ma'am. Sorry, our Subha ma'am, who have offered a nice vote of thanks, and also all the honorable participants from different universities. And we have seen that one or two participants also join with us from outside India. So it's a pleasure for us, though it is not an international webinar, but it becomes to be an international for that point of view. And also the various participants from different universities, colleges, and higher educational institutions that we have seen, and also our dear students. Most of our research scholars, students, they are also join with us and make it a grand success. That is why thanks from us, heartiest thanks from us, and we declare that within 10 days or 12 days, we are going to share our link for certificates in our group, and also personally to some those who are not in our group. And in near future, we are going to organize some another this type of webinar. It may be national or international. So I request all of you that you will be again join with us in our near future program. Thank you all. And now I hand it over last agenda to Professor Jayanta Kolita. You please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Mintu Pathak, sir, for your nice cooperations and deliberation. Thank you once again, our resource person. On behalf of the Masbat College fraternity, I would also like to offer my gratitude to our resource persons, both the resource persons who are really resourceful and beautifully presented their sessions, and all the participants and benefited from it. Now, before concluding, I would like to request Dr. Ramesh Chandra Borpatra Gohai, sir. Sir, please, would you like to put any concluding remarks, please, sir? Over to you.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Audible.
A very nice program that was organized by this college, and also the participants and also the teachers belong to different colleges. I'm really happy with this, and I'll make an appeal to the academics so that in near future also such type of webinars or seminars, whatever is possible on different issues that may continue. And our main purpose is to educate the people, sensitize the people, so that with joint hands we can become successful in such ventures. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Dr. Tilotpol Deka, sir, to please, sir, put your concluding remarks, please. Over to you, sir.
It's really good to know that there are participants from outside the country, and I was not knowing that. Even though it's a national webinar, I love to be part of it. And I'd like to request organizers from both the colleges to organize this kind of seminar near future when the COVID situation is over. And this kind of seminars in the physical, when we meet a person physically, it helps us a lot. This is my.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Sir. Thank you so much
for your valuable suggestions. And I would like to also inform you that during this crisis, we have already arranged more than 50 webinar in this during this crisis. It is a very great to inform you. Thank you once again, both the resource persons. In spite of your busy schedule, you join with us today and shared your compelling thoughts with us and enlighten us with your experiences and all. And once again, I thank you. And I hope we will meet again in our future discourses. And with these words, before concluding, I would like to request all the participants and guests to be for a moment with us because we are going to conclude with our as a host state of this is Assam. We are going to conclude with our state song, state anthem. Please. Thank you all for your nice cooperations. Once again, I like to offer my grateful thanks to all of you, and without your cooperations, without your participations, this could not happen. So only because of your participations and only because of your cooperations, this webinar becomes a great success, grand success. So thanks. With these warm words, I officially declare that the session